What you're about to hear might change the way you see the world. But before we begin, subscribe to Tony's Horror Stories so you're not alone when the darkness returns. The Thompsons had finally done it, their first real home. After years of renting cramped apartments, tolerating noisy neighbors, enduring moldy ceilings, and battling ever-rising rent prices, they were finally moving into a quiet, two-story colonial house on Wren Street. Sarah and Mark, along with their two children, Lily, 10, and Ben, 6, arrived in the late afternoon. Their SUV packed to the brim with boxes, toys, framed memories, and high hopes. The kids squabbled in the back seat about who would get which bedroom, while Sarah gripped the steering wheel a little tighter than usual, caught between relief and unease. The house was undeniably old, but it had a kind of weary charm. Ivy twisted around the aging brick exterior, paint peeled in long curls from the windowsills, and the wooden porch swing creaked even when motionless, as though haunted by long-forgotten conversations. The hardwood floors inside groaned with every step, each creak sounded like a warning. But the price had been a steal, almost suspiciously low. Too good, Sarah thought, to question too deeply. As they unloaded boxes, the neighbors across the street stood silently behind lace curtains. Mark offered a friendly wave, his arms full of folded bedding. Nobody waved back. The curtains shifted once and stilled. Inside, the air was unnaturally cool. Despite the summer sun outside, a chill wrapped around their ankles like fog. Each footstep echoed a moment too late. Lily paused in the hallway, eyes narrowing. "Mom," she whispered, tugging at Sarah's sleeve, "does someone else already live here?" The first night passed mostly uneventfully. Mostly. Lily complained of a lady whispering in her room, breathing too close to her ear. Sarah reassured her, saying the house had old pipes and settling beams. Just nerves, new surroundings, that's all it was. But the disturbances escalated. Ben began having vivid night terrors. Sarah would find him curled up in his closet, trembling, his face buried in a blanket soaked with tears. "The lady doesn't like me," he whispered one night. "She said I wasn't supposed to come." The dog, Milo, barked constantly at corners. He refused to go near the basement door, which had a habit of creaking open on its own. Water faucets began turning themselves on at night, releasing streams of brown, foul-smelling water. The smell of rot began to seep into the walls. Mark claimed he heard footsteps upstairs when no one was there. Light bulbs flickered, then exploded. Picture frames tilted of their own accord. The floorboards creaked under phantom weight. Sarah began keeping a journal. Day 5. Ben woke up with scratches down his back. Doors open themselves. The air feels heavy, like it's pressing down on us. While organizing old Christmas boxes in the attic, Mark noticed a seam in the far wall, barely visible, a false panel hidden within the aged wood. When he pried it open, it revealed a narrow, windowless room no larger than a walk-in closet. Inside, a dusty rocking chair with one leg splintered, dozens of burned-out candles, and soot-covered handprints, small, childlike, smeared across the walls. Strange symbols were scratched into the plaster. Children's drawings covered every inch of the walls, most etched with fingernails, all in red crayon. One image showed a tall, faceless woman standing over a sleeping child. Another showed the same woman with a twisted grin inside the bed. That night, Lily awoke screaming. Her arms bore bite marks, but there were no teeth marks, just raw indentations, no blood, no explanation. The whispers grew louder and more persistent. Both Sarah and Mark now heard them, A woman's voice, raspy, layered, and echoing as though several people were speaking in unison. "Get out," it hissed. "She belongs to me." The walls began to leak a thick, oily substance. It seeped from electrical sockets, behind paintings, and from the corners of the ceilings. The black liquid left stains that couldn't be scrubbed away. Even bleach failed. Ben stopped speaking altogether. He began drawing the same image repeatedly. A woman with hollow eyes, a gaping mouth, and claw-like fingers, always standing at the bedroom window. He sat for hours, staring at one specific corner, lips silently moving. One evening, Sarah swore she saw someone's silhouette reflected in the TV screen. No one was behind her. Frustrated and frightened, Sarah began researching the house's past. Public records were incomplete and contradictory. Families had moved in and out every few years, many leaving abruptly. No record showed anyone staying longer than 6 weeks. The most disturbing entry was a newspaper clipping from 1979. A woman named Evelyn Dorsey had murdered her 2 children in the house and hung herself in the attic. Her suicide note, found inside a children's storybook, read, "They told me they aren't mine. I had to set them free." Neighbors had erased her memory. When Sarah brought up the name, people closed their doors. Some even refused to make eye contact. Sarah visited a local priest, an old man with cloudy eyes who hesitated when she mentioned the address. "That place should have burned," he muttered. "But fire won't take it, not that one. The house chooses." Mark installed a security camera in Lily's room, desperate to catch some rational explanation. At 3:12 a.m., the footage showed Lily bolt upright in bed, eyes wide and unblinking. She turned toward the camera and whispered, "She says you can't leave. One of us stays." At the same time, the attic rocking chair began moving violently. Doors throughout the house slammed shut. Light bulbs burst in rapid succession. The walls began to pulsate, breathing in and out like lungs. A shrieking echoed from every floor. The family dog, Milo, was found lifeless in the bathtub, his body twisted unnaturally, his eyes missing. Written on the fogged mirror above the sink, "You took her place." Sarah tried to flee with the kids. Every door they opened led to the same hallway. Every window showed the house from the outside, motionless and eternal. Mark screamed for help one moment and vanished the next. The last words Sarah heard him whisper before he was swallowed by the darkness were, "She's here." Days passed. The house stood silent. Then a "for sale" sign appeared in the front yard. Inside, in the attic, a woman with long black hair rocks slowly in the chair. Her eyes are closed, lips moving, whispering lullabies to invisible children. Lily's red crayon drawings now coat the home's ceilings, floorboards, and even the mirrors. They move slightly when no one looks directly at them. The neighbors still watch, still silent. They never wave. And every night without fail at 3:12 a.m., the house breathes and it waits. You made it to the end. That says something. If this story made you glance over your shoulder, leave a like, subscribe to Tony's Horror Stories, and keep a little light nearby while you still can.